Welcome to the stream. It is great to have you here. Thanks so much for joining me at 2:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be talking all about one of the most important topics that we could ever talk about on a live stream, which is energy. How can you have more energy for your career? How can you have more energy for your personal life? But imagine combining the levels of energy that we have for our personal life and our professional life so that we could perform at a high level at work while still having the energy and the momentum and the great feelings to have energy when we arrive back at home as well. I'm going to check real quick that this microphone is turned on because that would be ironic if it wasn't. So give me 1 second. Okay, sweet. We are live. We are in action. Hey, what I want you to do is I want you to tell me a little bit about your levels of energy right now. Tell me in the comments, how are you feeling nowadays? How much energy do you feel that you have? At what point in your days does your energy start to wane when you feel like you might be starting to lose some of that drive throughout your days? Some of us might call it willpower, right? So let me know in the comments, when does your personal energy start to wane? Because what if I told you that it was possible for you to feel amazing throughout your entire day? What if I told you that it was possible to wake up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and by noon you still feel great, by 4 p.m. you still feel amazing, and by 7 or 8 p.m. you still have energy to spend time with the people that you love. You still have energy to get the work done that you want to get work done. It is possible. Because I got my trusty whiteboard with me here today, and I want to share with you the two things that determine the amounts of energy that you have at any given moment. It's two variables, and if you can get these variables under control, if you can have them on check, if you can put your conscious energy and effort towards these two things, then you're going to be in very, very good shape. So let me write down the first one for you here. The first variable that determines how you feel in any given moment is your internal representation. And I want you to think about your internal representation as the things that you're thinking about throughout your day. Are you thinking about all the tasks that you have to get done? Are you thinking about all the challenges that you're going to have to get through? Are you thinking about how you might fail? Are you thinking about how you might go into this interview or you might go into the workday and you're already in a way planning in advance to not be at your best, to not be at your peak? This is your internal representation. You can think of your the IR, your internal representation. You can think about this as the pictures and the videos that you're creating in your mind throughout your day. So right now, you're feeding your internal representation with this video. Or if you're listening, you're feeding it with audio. Audio that is, in a sense, feeding you. It's feeding your subconscious with some kind of stimulus. In this case, the stimulus is education. It's learning. It's growth. It's improvement, right? And the more that you can feed your internal representation with positive things, the more you are thinking about positive things and creating pictures and images in your mind of positive things. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is your internal representation. And the second variable when it comes to how you feel and the levels of energy that you have is this. It's what you're doing with your body in any given moment. So I want you to think about during the days when you're kind of feeling run down, during the days when you're kind of feeling lackluster, you're feeling low energy, you're not feeling like you want to do anything that you have to get done or that you want to get done in your day. What are you generally doing with your body in those moments, right? Are you working out? Are you sweating? Are you walking around? Are you getting things done around the house? Probably not. In those moments, you're probably sitting down somewhere, right? You're probably slouched over. Your breathing is probably pretty shallow. Your shoulders might be down. Your head might be down. You might not be breathing much at all. You might be having lackluster thoughts while at the same time your body is doing lackluster movements. Because there's only two things, guys, that determine how you feel throughout your day. And the first one is the thoughts that you're having. And the second one is what you're physically doing with your body in those moments. So you might be saying, well, Brandon, it sounds too simple to think that my thoughts and my body are the things that are creating all of my energy, when in reality, those are the only two things that are impacting your energy. It's not the foods that you're eating. Sometimes it's not even the amount of sleep that you get. Have you ever gotten like 4 hours of sleep, but because you woke up about to go take a trip somewhere, or because you woke up with good news, because you woke up excited, you had a feeling of energy for the day. You felt energized. You felt like you didn't even need more sleep. It's not because of the amount of sleep you get. It's not because of the kind of food you eat. It's because of what you're thinking about, as well as what it is you're doing with your body. I remember when 5-6 years ago, before I discovered this world of personal development, I was very unhappy with myself, right? I had a lot of thoughts that I didn't want to have, thoughts that I wasn't even conscious of at the time, right? Thoughts of failure, thoughts of not being enough, being rejected because I worked in sales, being rejected and allowing that rejection to go throughout my entire day. My internal representation was not in check, and my body wasn't in check either, because when I started in sales, I quickly gained like 40 to 50 pounds working in a sales environment, because you're literally sitting down throughout your entire day. And already I was someone who grew up as a chubby kid, right? My body was never something that I consciously worked on. My body was never something that I put work towards. I was never taught how to go to the gym. Right? I was never taught how to work my body. I was never taught any of those things. So already I had an identity of somebody who was overweight. I had an identity of somebody who was low energy. And as I got into my adult life, I just figured that this was all that life was, until the moment when I wanted more from life, until the moment when I realized that the life that I was living isn't the life that I wanted to live anymore. I wanted to become a leader in the company. I wanted to feel better about myself. I wanted to boost my self-esteem. I wanted to boost my self-confidence. And I knew that I wanted to get my body in check, right? So the first thing that I did, without even knowing where energy came from, was I started going to the gym, and I started actually moving my body. I started to sweat intentionally for the first time ever. Like, who would have thought that you'd want to sweat? Who would have thought that you'd want to move your body and feel exhausted and feel sore the next day? So I started working out and going to the gym. And once I started actually putting effort towards my body, once I started moving it in different ways, once I started to get myself into shape, it automatically helped me when it came to my internal representation and the thoughts that I was having. Because when I was down, guys, all I thought about was what I didn't want. There was a point where, and I tell this story all the time, but it's important. There was a point where I didn't even want to leave my apartment because I didn't want people to see me, right? I was ashamed of myself. I had absolutely no self-esteem. And it was only once I realized and made the decision to change my life when things actually started to change for me. So I read a book, and the book was called The Secret. And a mentor of mine gave me this book, and I still recommend it to everybody who is in the same situation that I was 5-6 years ago. And the book has one general premise. The premise is, if you want to change your life, you have to be conscious of the thoughts that you're having on a daily basis. Because let me ask you, how often are you being conscious of the things that you're thinking on a daily basis? How often are you asking yourself, how am I feeling right now? Right? How often are you taking a mental inventory of the way that you're feeling, of the thoughts that you're having, of the thoughts that you're choosing to accept? Probably not too often, right? And I started to do that. So the number one way that I started to work on my energy levels, my power, which is one of the 5 P's that I talk about all the time. You've got to have a plan. You've got to have the power to fuel the plan. If you don't have power, you're not going to be able to perform at work. If you don't have power, how the hell are you going to build a business or even work in a business while still giving your energy to your family? Right? The quality of your life isn't determined by just one area of your life. The quality of your life, in my opinion, is determined by your effectiveness in whatever you're doing. It's cool to be great at work, but what if you could be great at work and be great with your family? It's cool to have a great family life, but if you're broke because you're not performing at work, how does that make you look for your family? And these are some hard things to talk about. Some people listening are going to be like, oh, screw this guy, right? But the reality is, you got to come to the realization that you can perform well in whatever area of your life that you want to perform in. And it comes down to these two areas. So I knew that I had to get my thoughts under control because I wasn't being conscious about them whatsoever, right? That's why it's the first thing I wrote down up there, because the first thing I had to do was I had to start asking myself, and I'd recommend you write this down. I had to start asking myself the question, how am I feeling right now? Throughout my days, you could even make an alarm on your phone to ask you this question of how am I feeling right now in this moment? And if the answer that you get back is you're not feeling the way that you want to feel, well, great news. You can choose to feel a different way. What if I told you that happiness wasn't an external circumstance? Happiness is something that you can choose to experience whenever you decide to. Because as you're taking a walk outside, you can feel stressed because of everything that the world is throwing at you, or you can instead choose to be in that moment and look around at all the amazing things that you get to experience in that moment, like the wind against your skin, the fact that you have two legs to walk around on, the fact that you have a home that you're going back to, whether it's an apartment, a house, living with your parents, whatever it might be. It's what you choose to focus on that determines how you feel in any given moment. But the first step is to begin asking yourself consciously, how am I feeling in this moment? Because if the answer is, I'm not feeling too great, you have the power to change it. Because if you're not feeling too great, how is that going to impact your performance when you get home for the day? When you have a long day at the office and you get home and your kids want to play, your wife's trying to talk to you, your husband's trying to talk to you, whatever the situation might be, whether you got cats, goldfish, doesn't matter. How is it going to make them feel if you're not able to give your attention and your energy to them now because you're just so wiped from your day, right? That's not because you're actually wiped. It's because of what you're focused on in that moment. And some people might be saying, Brandon, I work outside all day, man. You don't understand. It's very difficult for me. It's constantly cold. It's constantly hot. There's this circumstance and this circumstance. The circumstances do not matter. E plus R equals O. Events are always going to be there. Circumstances and external things are always going to be factors. But it's how you react and what you choose to focus on that will determine the outcome. Because you have the ability to feel the way that you want to feel. When you get home after a long day, when you begin your day and go into the office or whatever it is you do, you make that decision based on your internal representation, number one. So begin to consciously ask yourself, what am I thinking about right now? In my book, Be Extraordinary, the first chapter, the challenge in the book is start writing down the emotions that you're experiencing on a daily basis. Because at the end of 7 days, you're going to look back through your notebook, you're going to look back through your journal, and you're going to say, wow, I experience sadness pretty often. Wow, this feeling of anxiety that goes through my body, I'm getting a lot of this throughout my days. And once you notice the emotions that you're constantly practicing, you can look for the ones that are good. You can look for the emotions that actually make you feel something that you want to feel. And you can ask yourself, how is it that I summon this emotion? Because emotions aren't just coming and going. You are choosing them, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. So if you can pinpoint how you want to feel, you can ask yourself the question, what am I doing with my body in the moments that I'm feeling confident? What am I doing with my thoughts and what I'm thinking about when I'm feeling on top of the world? And once you pinpoint what you have to do with your body and think about with your mind, then you can replicate that feeling and summon it whenever you need to. That's the beauty of these two things. You are literally like a walking antenna. And the way that you use your body, the way that you use your mind, which is a tool, will determine the channel that you're tuning into. The channels being your emotions. And this is so important because your emotions are what are carving your life out. Your emotions is what's creating your destiny. Because based on how you feel, you're taking very specific actions. And if you can change your actions, you can change your life. So that's the first thing when it comes to creating unlimited energy in your life, personally and professionally, because then we get to your body. Now, one of the things that a lot of people overlook is the importance of cherishing this physical vessel of yours, cherishing this body that you have, this body that you were blessed with, this body that you were gifted with, because you have two very powerful tools in your arsenal to go through life and to truly make a difference and live your purpose. Two main tools. The first tool is your mind, which we just talked about. It is very much a tool. You use it to create the life that you want. The second tool is your body and what you're doing with your body and how you use it and how you take care of it and how you treat it. But not even just that, but also how you nourish it, right? And how you identify with it. If in your mind you're not happy with your body, then why would your body treat you well? If you don't like your body, then your body is a tool that's going to say, well, I don't like you, right? It's like people who have bad associations and bad thoughts and mindsets around money. If you have bad mindsets around money, do you think money is going to want to attract itself to you? Do you think money is going to want to flow to you in an abundance? Hell no. And the same thing with your body, right? If you're not taking care of your body and you're having thoughts of, I'm not happy with it, that's not going to help it, right? That's just going to attract more of those feelings. Instead, what if you decided to say, I love the way that I am and I just want to continue to get better and I want to continue to improve because just because you're the way that you are right now doesn't mean you always have to stay that way, right? So the first step here is if you want to begin to use your body to tune into different channels, tune into different emotions, you've got to treat your body differently than the way that you've been treating it. For years and years, from my mid-teens, I lost weight when I was about 16, 17 years old. I was always a chubby kid. And when I was about 16 or 17, I wanted to get into the dating world and I wanted to start to attract different people into my life, specifically girls that I wanted to attract. And I was rejected over and over and over again, partly because I was a shy kid, but also because I still identified myself with that chubby kid that I grew up with, right? Me, who I used to be. Just because other people saw me as thin didn't mean that I saw myself that way, right? It was a self-image problem, not a body problem. It was the way that I saw myself. Other people saw me as one thing, but internally I saw myself as something completely different. So it's one thing to change your body, but it's another thing entirely to change your identity around how you see yourself. So right now, when it comes to your body and nourishing it and treating it like the temple and the tool that it is in order to summon energy, let me ask you this. What is the ideal version of you? How would you like to see yourself? I really want you to envision this right now, no matter what you're doing. How would you like to see yourself on a daily basis? When you looked into the mirror, what is the image that you would see back, looking back at you, that you could be absolutely so happy and thrilled with? Something that would give you energy throughout the day. A body that would give you the feelings of energy. A body that could summon that energy whenever you need it. What would that look like to you? And then I want you to do this. Whenever you pass by a mirror in your home, no matter how happy you are with your body right now, whenever you walk by a mirror in your home, rather than seeing what you see in the mirror currently at that time, I want you to imagine who you want to be. I want you to imagine in your theater of imagination, in your mind's video screen, like your own little movie theater in your head. I want you to imagine the way that you want to look and feel the way that you want to feel. Right? Because while you're changing your body, you're also changing your internal representation at the same time. And once you can begin to have more conscious thoughts and start choosing your thoughts, choosing thoughts of happiness, thoughts of purpose, thoughts of progress, thoughts of confidence, once you can start choosing more conscious, serving thoughts, then you can go to work on your body in the same way that I did. And within 6 months, I was able to release 60 pounds of weight from my body. And the beautiful thing is I never found that weight. The reason why I say releasing weight versus losing weight is because when you lose weight, you're telling your subconscious that there's something to go find. When you release it, you are freeing it out into the wild, never to return, right? So you got to release it. But in order to do that, you've got to see yourself in the way that serves you. You've got to be happy with you, because if you can get your body, the tool of your body in check and the tool of your mind in check, then you can really create the destiny and create the levels of energy that you want to feel. And this is how I'm able to run my business while working a full-time job. This is how I'm able to still show up for my family and show up for my wife while still building a business and working a full-time job and operating effectively in all of those things, waking up at 5 each day, going to bed at 9:30, 10 p.m., and waking up with energy to do it over again the next day. It's not chance that happens. It's because I've taken these two tools, my mind, also known as your internal representation and your thoughts, and my body, and I've learned how to use these tools in a way that gives me the most energy so that I can carry out my purpose and carry out my plan. And I don't want you to skip over that one very important word there. It's going to be very difficult for you to have the levels of energy that you want if you don't have a plan that you can get behind. If you don't have a plan and a passion and a purpose that you can live on a daily basis, you're going to get home after work not having anything to do, and you're just going to slump and turn the TV on and watch Netflix. You're just going to go on your phone and go on TikTok for 4 hours. If you have a plan and you have a purpose and you have a greater calling to put your time and your attention to, it's going to be a lot easier for you to summon this level of energy. And that's why in the 5 Ps, the plan comes first. Once you know the direction you want to go in, that's when I start to focus on my power, which is my energy, which is your internal representation in your body. But the plan comes first. You got to have a direction. You got to have a greater reason for doing what you're doing, because how do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered as the guy who just had a job, came home, raised his kids, and died? It sucks to get grim like that, I know, but it's the reality. That's what 99% of people do. 99% of people won't be remembered, or they'll be remembered by one person, and then once that person's gone, they're not remembered. Think about the people who are remembered, right? The revered people, not the people who did bad things. They're remembered for different reasons. But everyone who was remembered for a good reason had a greater calling. They had a purpose. And if you're asking, well, how can I find this purpose? That's another topic for a different time. We can definitely talk about that. But in order to have energy, you've got to have a plan. You've got to have a reason for doing what you're doing. Now, coming up starting tomorrow is what you've already heard me talking about for a long time here, the Be Better Bootcamp. Starting tomorrow and officially beginning on July 8th is the Be Better Bootcamp. This is a 6-week experience to help take you from where you are now to where it is you want to go, whether it's with your fitness or your income or your career or building stronger relationships, whatever your yearly goals have been. This boot camp over 6 weeks is going to help you develop massive momentum to reach your goals. Listen, I've never acquired anything meaningful in my life without a community of people who've helped me through. I've never accomplished anything meaningful without a coach who took me under their wing or a mentor who helped show me the road ahead. And the boot camp starts tomorrow. And it's only $200 to join this 6-week virtual experience that you can do from anywhere in the world. It's $200 and you can pay it in 3 different ways, right? You might be saying, Brandon, why don't you do it for free? Well, my time is important as well, right? But also when you pay for something, you're more apt to take it seriously and follow through and actually do the things that you've committed to. So in the link in the description, click the link. You can learn more about the bootcamp. If you sign up before midnight tonight, you're going to get 3 exclusive bonuses for this bootcamp. You're going to get a signed copy of my book that I'll ship directly to you. You're going to get lifetime access to all of my different courses, Life Designing Secrets, the Purpose Masterclass, as well as my Mind Body Accelerator. You're going to get an onboarding call tomorrow, an additional session with myself and everyone else who's already signed up before tomorrow to go over what you want to get out of the bootcamp, what goals you want to achieve so that we can help you get there. And a special bonus that was just released is you're going to get a private call with myself, which normally they're $250 an hour for coaching with myself, which I do have clients. But Normally with a group package like this, I'm not doing that, but you'll get one call with me where we talk specifically about what you want to achieve, what capabilities that you need in order to make them happen, and how I can support you throughout the bootcamp as well. So click the link in the description, learn more about the bootcamp. We've got 8 spots left. They are filling quickly with some pretty awesome people who've already joined and who are already starting to engage. So be sure to join the bootcamp. Take a conscious inventory of your internal representation and of your body. Use them as the tools that they are. And this is how you create unlimited energy and motivation for you, your career, and your life. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon.